Hello and welcome. This is We Make Art, and I am your host, artist and mentor, Sarah Rockwood. And I have a bit of a confession to make. I'm just going to dive right into the subject at hand. In the last few weeks, I have really found myself stressing more than usual. I mean, there's always stress in this life. Hello, we live in the world. There's going to be some element of stress involved, but I have found myself rejecting rest, denying myself the peace I know my body needs. I've been really ignoring some signals that I don't normally ignore. You know, when I relaunched this podcast after my time away, after having pneumonia for 6 months, and that first episode back was all about, I didn't expect to get emotional about this, guys. It was all about how being sick for that long really showed me how poorly I care for myself. And I was really determined after that to care for myself, to really make it a priority to care for my body, my mind, my spirit, with the knowledge, with the deep knowing that would in turn nurture my art making, nurture my relationship to art as an energy. And I started off strong. I really did. And then I had some stuff happen, as life does. I didn't think I would share this today, but I feel called to share it. I had an incident happen at the end of July where I was touched inappropriately by a bodywork practitioner. And I can't give you too many details because, legal reasons, liability reasons, defamation reasons, all of that. But I can say that that she touched me inappropriately. And at first I kind of laughed it off. At first I thought, oh, that must just be like a form of practice that I'm not used to, blah, blah, blah. But come September, so I'm telling you, it took a while. It took like 6 weeks before I was really able to be like, oh, fuck, I think I was assaulted. Like, I don't think what happened was right. And once I did acknowledge that in my body, my mind, my spirit, no, my body already knew. Once my mind and my spirit caught up with what the body was telling me, I crashed really hard. It was really hard. Not only because the incident itself was very challenging, but it was incredibly triggering. I mean, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know what I've been through in my life and how hard I have worked to find the beginnings of sovereignty, the foundations of sovereignty in my body, to trust myself, to take care of myself. And it really was a moment where I felt like I had failed on all of those fronts. And I know that I haven't. Like, intellectually, I know that I haven't, but that subconscious shame really rose to the surface. And I find myself now in the middle of November looking back over sort of September, October, and and realizing just how I ran in a lot of ways from the reality of what had happened, how I was triggered back into old coping mechanisms, like staying up too late, like being on my phone too much, like eating sugary foods that I'd worked so hard in the summer to release and had felt such a benefit from. Like there were a lot of slips. Was it, and also recognizing how hard I was being on myself, because I say there were a lot of slips, but it wasn't really that. I didn't slip that hard, but the slips themselves felt like such immense failures because of all the shame and things that were churned up. And I went hard on the caffeine. Oh my God. Like, I know for my system that I can't really do caffeine. I can do decaf. I can do a decaf latte like once a day and I'm all right. But I was going full caffeine, like double espresso lattes, like every day. And I know that doesn't sound like, I know that that's something that a lot of people do every day. And that's why I want to talk about this today, this idea of the courage it takes to rest, because I could see, having spent the summer really nourishing my body, I had such a clear contrast of what ignoring my vessel, of what ignoring rest really did to me. And my God, the perimenopause was like out of control. Like out of control. If I could show you my Aura Ring data, you'd be like, girl, what the fuck? What happened? Like you can see a clear delineation of like, oh, here's where the caffeine kicked in, because your fucking body temperature is like 1 degree higher than normal the whole time, and your heart rate never goes down, and like you're not sleeping, and no wonder you're like not making art, or you are trying to make art, but then it's not really satisfying, and da 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 da. And then I went for a face massage to try and move some of the tension out of my face, because I had found that through the I don't even know what we want to call it, through the dip that happened after the assault, I couldn't unknit my brows, and I couldn't, like, my jaw was so tight and yada. So I went for this face massage that included intraoral. And I was also really proud of myself for going back to get intimate body work, like even though this body work incident had happened. So I was like, good for you, Sarah. But this woman started to work on my jaw and doing this intraoral work, which I don't know if you've ever had, but it's like they put gloves on and they work with the trigger points inside your mouth. And it is, when it's done well, it is fabulous. Now, I have always had it done in a very tough fashion. People who find a trigger point and stick on a trigger point and hold that trigger point, and it's incredibly painful. But I would feel relief afterwards. So I thought that's how it was meant to be done. And then this woman started working on my jaw, and it was the most gentle touch I have felt in years, bordering on ever, maybe, that someone was so gentle and it was giving without any desire to receive. I was receiving a service. Like, I really felt like I was being given a gift of service, and it was so gentle and relaxing that I just started crying. I was like, you got to give me a minute. I'm having a somatic response. And she was like, oh, okay, it's all right. Go for it. And I'm like, okay, it's just really beautiful and it feels really nice. Like, so yeah, I'm going to go back and do that again. But it did, again, hit me much like this is the onion of life, right? Much like when I came out of the pneumonia going, wow, I really don't care for myself. Why is that? Spending the summer maybe going too far the other way, overly caring for myself, if that's a thing, like going a little extreme in my behaviors, to finding myself post dip, post assault, like really starting to kind of put myself back together and then going, oh, there's another level to this. There is a gentle place that is safe, that maybe I need to spend some more time in. And that's terrifying. I know I'm not alone in the idea of like sitting in a comfortable chair can be terrifying, you know? Like I feel like sometimes we women, especially we women in the arts, if you're listening to this, like we are conditioned almost to operate like sharks, never stop moving, never stop doing, never accept help. We are lone wolves. We can get it all done. And you ask somebody to sit in a chair and just not pick up your phone and just breathe. And, you know, the responses to that I've seen is either the women fall immediately to sleep or get very angry because they got shit to do. So yeah, I realized in this massage and this gentle, safe touch that it was going to take a hell of a lot of courage to truly rest. And that's what I hope this conversation today gets us to. A place where we all find the courage to rest. You know, it is the lie of laziness that we have to look at first here. This idea that to pause, to rest, to take a day off, to say no to an event, to say no to a task, to say no to helping somebody, that all of these things make us lazy, and that lazy is bad, lazy is stupid, and lazy, we are releasing our ambition. Maybe that's it, that by taking a rest, it means that I don't want it badly enough. And isn't that a big thing in the arts? I don't want it bad. Do you want it badly enough? I have had people say to my face, like in theater school, or, you know, they were like, because there are a lot of other girls who want this. And there are a lot of girls in this class that are really talented. Do you want to run with them or not? Okay. Well, yes, I do. Yes, I really do. I really do want these things. I do want to be successful, whatever that meant at the time, you know. Yeah, I do want the lead in the show. Yeah, I do want to be able to sing that high note. Yeah, I don't want to disappoint you. Okay, I'll keep going. You know, it's interesting. I mean, this is part of capitalism, right? This is part of patriarchy. This idea that, especially as women, we have to be of value. We have to offer value to the situations we are in order to have merit and worth as people. And so that has become this distorted thing of like, never stop doing. This fear of rest is inherited, it is internalized, it is systemic, and it gets underlined or underscored by this idea that of what are people going to think of us? People are going to call us lazy. People are going to stop asking us to do things. You know, there was a time where I was really struggling with my health, and I had been asked to vocal coach someone who was a part of they weren't a record label, but they were like an artist development company. And they were a big deal artist development company in that they had a lot of financial backing. And I just did not have the physical capacity to teach this person. And what I really wanted to say to this company was, look, I am very much struggling with my health, and I am taking the summer off, and I'd be happy to coach this person in the fall. And it was my ex who was like, don't tell them that. If you tell them that, they'll never call you again. They'll just think you're like lazy and you don't care. So you've got to tell them that you're just too busy, that you've got too many clients and you don't have time for them. That way it means it, that way that you're like in demand, but they just can't get to you. And I was like, oh, okay. So I told them that. He's like, that way they'll come back to you. They'll come back to you. I think that was part of it. And so I went against my gut and told them I was too busy to take on their student. And they never contacted me for anything again. Now, would that have been different had I said what I wanted to say? If I had been truthful about where I was at? Probably not. But I would have felt a hell of a lot better about it. And perhaps I would have validated my own experience, shown myself some trust in that moment. The thing I've seen, experienced, observed over and over again when it comes to people calling you things, people saying things about you, and in this case, saying that you're lazy, it comes from a place of self-judgment. The most judgmental people you meet, the most negative people you meet who, like, oh my God, look at her shoes. Oh my God, look at that haircut. Oh my God, why did she say that? Da, 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 da. Go on and on and on. Those people live in constant fear of someone saying the same things about them. It is a projection. It is just a pure projection. And we get locked in this cycle of projecting on one another. The snail, where am I going with this? The mixed metaphors. It's a snail eating its tail. No, it's a snake eating its own tail. This idea that, like, I can't take off time because they're going to call me lazy. Well, they're calling you lazy because they're afraid to take time off themselves. So we end up, just bullying ourselves and each other into these unsustainable lifestyles. No, I'm wrong there. We don't bully each other into unsustainable lifestyles because the truth is the lifestyle is sustainable. I've been sustaining it. You've been sustaining it. We have sustained these lifestyles of hustle, but they are depleting. And I'm not sure if we're aware of the cost of them because we are living in them. We don't have a moment to kind of step back and look at our patterns and ask ourselves if that's what we really want. It's the third cup of coffee before noon. Staying up too late because the day never felt like yours. Saying yes to something when your body is begging you to say no. Doing everything alone because no one else does it quite like you do. Letting the imagined thoughts of others rewrite our relationships with ourselves. And ignoring our art because we never have enough time. These are actions, activities that we can sustain and live and, have a reasonably good time. But are they representative of the best of ourselves? And I struggle with even bringing that up because, again, that has that connotation of like, okay, well, I can hear this of, well, Sarah, you're telling us not to stop hustling, but you're also telling us to be the best of ourselves. So like, how do we, and I feel that too, as I say it, I'm like, is this the best of me? What is the best of me? Is that even a thing I need to be looking for? Well, I think for me personally it is. What is the best of myself? But I have realized that the paradigm I had in my head of what was required to achieve the best of me was a fucking lie. It was a lie. I mean, it was, I'm here, I can't name why don't I know the name of the song? Perimenopause. Elton John, about Marilyn Monroe, like they put you on the treadmill and made you change your name. Like I feel like a lot of us are living that. And we are still making really good art in that. But as I've said in other episodes, I am very proud of the art I have made. I just question if I had to feel the way I felt at the time to make that art. And I don't like that when I look back at those works, I see a woman who was depleted and sad and scared and in immense physical pain. So when I talk about the best of us, I think it involves a real softening, a real return to who we are without the noise, who we are without the bullying and the gaslighting that we've done to ourselves and that other people have taught us how to do to ourselves. And the key to that return is in release. Acknowledging, sitting with, even if it's uncomfortable, especially because it's uncomfortable, the idea, the knowledge, the truth that letting go of hustle isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's a deep internal wisdom that we are returning to. And also giving ourselves grace around what release means in the season of life that we are in. Release for me as a childless by choice, single 46-year-old woman looks very different than release to a mother of 3. It just does. I mean, and to say that it doesn't would be mean, It's. I think. I think one of the bedrock things, foundations to my work, and perhaps one of the things that makes it the most challenging to interact with, is that this process of return to the self is so individual. Like there are tools that can help and facilitate that change and that softening and bringing rest in. But the journey is an individual one, which makes it feel kind of lonely sometimes. But sometimes loneliness is okay. Sometimes there are seasons where we need to be with ourselves, with just ourselves. When it comes to these kinds of thought processes that we're dismantling and truths that we're internalizing, sometimes those are conversations with us, with the I, rather than with the out. So maybe the first step is something as simple as just repeating this mantra. When I release the hustle, I honor myself and my art. And just letting that line percolate through your day, through your mind, into your body and your spirit, and just observing the changes that start to take place with that truth moving through you. And slowly, as you open yourself up to that possibility, as you embrace the courage to rest, just even making that decision is a beautiful first step. Because as that moves through you, as you kind of letting that mantra percolate through you, it becomes natural to lay the burdens down. You know, maybe it's as simple as the third cup of coffee in the day. You don't need it anymore. You don't drink it anymore. Or maybe it's going to bed when your body feels tired. When we embrace, okay, courage to rest. Let's do this. And we just start letting that mantra percolate. When I release the hustle, I honor myself and my art. And then just noticing the things that naturally want to fall away. And it will take time, and letting them fall away. And maybe sometimes they'll come back for a couple days, and then you're like, oh, I didn't like that. Okay, and then you'll let it go again. It is possible for us to live a life that feels whole, where the fullness of us is honored, nourished, and activated, where we're not just useful or organized or helpful, where we're outward energy, where we feel the full breadth of who we are, alive in everything that we do. And living in that space of fullness, of wholeness, of feeling truly alive, and having the courage to rest and nourish our body, mind, spirit, our ambition will not disappear in that place. It will deepen, become more resonant. The work, the art, will have more truth to it. We will not be irrelevant in our rest. We will be radiant. So I started this podcast with a very intense story. One I wasn't sure I was going to bring to this episode, but it felt right to share. And as we head towards the end here, I'm gonna say I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself in that, like, I can acknowledge what happened. I can acknowledge that dip that occurred, but I can also see where I still stayed soft. And the universe, whatever you want to call or what you believe in, I use the word universe, like, did reinforce that softness when I received that massage and the gentleness, and allowed the gentleness to move through me. I learned something. I learned something about myself, and I felt possibility. I think that's the thing I really want for all of us, is to feel how possible it is to feel good in your day-to-day life. That you deserve to feel good in your day-to-day life. And it does take immense courage to say, I'm going to rest now. So if this conversation has stirred something in you, and you'd like some assistance from me in embracing your courage to rest, I won't say finding your courage, because I know you're a badass, so you've already got a lot of courage in your life, but let's embrace the courage to rest. I've got two options for you. We have The Art of Return, which is the private, totally free podcast visualizations for artists around intuition, sleep, and connecting with the body. And then I've got my course if you're looking for a little bit more activation, still self-paced, embracing an art-filled life. And that course is designed to help you identify the season of life you are in right now and how you'd like it to move forward. So, as I say, links are in the show notes. Thank you for listening. Thank you for holding space for my difficult bits. And thank you for being you. Like, you're really awesome. I don't know if enough people tell you that, but you really are. And I know you're like, Sarah, you don't know me, but girl, I know you. Come on. And you're amazing. And I wish you a lot of peace in these last few weeks of the year. We will talk again before the year ends, but yeah, take it easy. It's a marathon, not a sprint, yada, 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 all that stuff. And I'll talk to you later.